conversation, but it was interesting to me. He had said, you know, if you, which option would you take if you had these two options? If you
Hmm.
had the option to focus on your dreams and, work toward your dreams and have support towards your dreams, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
Or would you choose that option, or would you choose the option of working on your quote unquote mindset challenges and um, quote unquote fixing those first?
Right.
And I was like, well, okay, well, in my brain, I'm like, if I fix the things first,
Hmm.
then I get everything that I want.
Right.
Um, but it was interesting because the answer was actually the opposite.
Yeah.
And and when I really looked at it, I was like, huh, okay, if I look back at my life, I wasn't focused on fixing my mindset when I was successful.
Mm.
I was, you work through the things that come up as you go,
Right.
but you're actually focused on achieving your desires. I
Right.
was like, okay, well, so we had a conversation about that, and then I started thinking about it, and I was like, and it made sense because even some of the things that I've like told I told myself I've been working my way back into being a minimalist for the last like 2 years,
Hmm.
and I mean, I'm like, yet all this stuff keeps showing up. Like,
Mm.
what the heck? But so then when I looked at that, I was like, well, that makes perfect sense. It's like I'm too focused on fixing and not focused enough on living,
Right.
and then just addressing things as they come up. So I thought that was interesting, and
Yeah.
I just wanted uh, to see what your thought was on that.
Right. So, two things. First of all, most of us don't realize that we can actually change our mindset. So that's why I incorporate it because our beliefs are extremely powerful. And
Hmm.
if you watch the rest of it, you'll realize the tie-ins with manifestation and with the way we see ourselves, our self-love, self-care, self-trust. And then also then the energetics of it all, right? So if we have subconscious beliefs that are running the show, oftentimes this is why we are stuck where we're stuck. Yes, it's going to be important for us to focus on our desires, what makes us feel good, what makes us feel better, better feeling thoughts, like the whole 9 yards. And it also, I know from my experience with my clients and with seeing it throughout my practice, even in massage, that the mind is a part of the equation. And so this is why it's important. So most people, I would say most, not all, but most people need the mindset work as well. So we don't,
Yes, and he wasn't eliminating the mindset work at
right,
all. And you and I do very similar work.
right.
And
So
I
it's
think
just our
that,
focus, our
yeah,
shift,
it's
right?
just a step.
Yeah,
But I found it interesting that even though I do the work and even though I teach the work, I've never actually really become consciously aware that
mm,
I don't like I that we focus obviously on the challenges of mindset as they come up,
right.
uh, but not, um, but that's not the sole focus. So it was just for
Yeah,
me, it was more self-awareness. It wasn't like he told me something I didn't even practice because I do.
right,
It's like, but you don't necessarily always see that,
right. Yeah,
that direction. And I was like, oh, that's interesting because I know that, you and I do similar work. So I was like, this should be a fun conversation
mhm,
because I don't think that you only focus on mindset. I know that you don't only focus on mindset.
right.
And I don't either. However, I know we both value that and we consider that to be very important.
Right.
And of course, the more awareness that you have, and he was like, because it's not that it's not
Mhm.
that he didn't make it out like, oh, you're wrong. He was like,
Right.
you're a very self-aware person,
Right.
and so, this was just bringing up some more self-awareness
Right.
to where, the log, maybe even the ego gets involved there a little bit when answering that question,
Right.
you know? It's
Yeah.
like,
So
no, just focus on this. And it's like, no, that's actually not right.
right, exactly. So what you have to be careful with is always staying stuck in the mindset work, right? So
Yeah.
and that is we have habits and addictive personalities, and some people then get stuck in the struggle and the issues, and they're trying to heal, and they don't feel like they can live until they heal, and that's not true. So
Right.
this is the distinction, right? So there are people out there that feel like they can't be happy unless they heal everything, because well, you're never going to be happy then, because we're never done. That's the truth,
And
right?
and there are coaches out there who utilize that, unfortunately,
Yeah, to keep
to
you
to keep people in their circle for way longer than they need to be
right.
because that's what it's like, okay, this is, you have to heal and you have to heal and you have to heal. And it's like, okay, I have healed a whole bunch and
Right.
I will always be healing,
Right.
but I don't, staying stuck in that circle isn't serving anyone.
Right. And so there are circles where people will stay in them for when they
Mhm.
need it. So that's
Oh,
what
yes.
a lot of the masterminds, the high level masterminds, like even
Hmm.
Tony Robbins, one of the masters of mindset, will be having a circle of friends or colleagues or in some kind of high level mastermind, or he either leads it or he's part of it, because there's shit still happens to all of us,
Right.
right? So
Right. And they don't meet nearly as often and they're
right,
but
exactly. So but
but
they
yes.
they basically they show up when they need it, or
Yeah.
they're there and to support and to hold energy, and maybe even to have socialization and a connection. And then if they need it, they step in and they have a conversation. But if they don't need it, they don't, they're it's just a safety net, right? So
Yeah.
I believe, and again, we're never done. Like every level that we improve, every level that we step into a new version of ourselves, there'll be another level where we're like, and I've done it before, so I'm fully aware of this, is that
Yep.
we're going to say, oh shit, I thought I healed this. And what's going to happen is there's a different nuance of that same issue that we need to heal and release, and it's just making itself known. And then oftentimes, because we've up leveled so many times, then we're doing it faster, we're seeing it faster, we're not staying like, so when my marriage was breaking up a couple years before that, we were in a really bad space. And it took me a couple of months to get unemotional about the whole thing and really allow myself to reconnect with my ex-husband and have a conversation about it. But it was so hurtful at the time that I was not emotionally intelligent enough. I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't in that space of this self awareness that I am now. And if the same situation happened, I would not be taken out of the game. I can still show up and do master classes. I can still show up and run programs. I can still show up. Maybe I'm not like this high vibe person, but that doesn't negate what I'm presenting and what I'm giving. And for example, last year, to a point where I almost thought, okay, I gotta not put any meaning around this, because it could become a pattern. So last year, my ex-husband locked me out of the gate, out of my yard, and then changed the locks on my office and changed the locks on the apartment that we rent. And at the time, they'd been gone for 20 months and didn't come back onto the island until September of not last year, year before. And so I was running a masterclass at the time, and I could have canceled. I could have not showed up for it. I could have made an excuse and, cry myself to sleep or in the moment or whatever. I had my tears and I had my anger and I released it, and then I was able to still show up. So this is the difference, right? So with each level, we just get better. We get better at doing what we're doing. We get better at the mindset work. We get better at the energy work. We get better at allowing things to slide over us. I call myself Teflon now because he can say anything, do anything, and it just bounces right off of me. But I wasn't like that for a long time. So
Yeah.
again, it's just awareness, right? And so even to a point where I can see myself outside of myself, and my ego mind wanting to pull me back into the little child that's screaming and crying and upset and hurt. And my higher self will go, nope, keep going, you've got this, you've got this. And the little Nemo voice that I hear, you've got it, you keep on going, keep on moving, keep on swimming. And my ego
Right.
like, no, stay, come back, because that's the comfort zone. That is where we feel safest. This is what we're used to doing. So any of those habits and ways of being will be what becomes comfort. And that's when ego is going to try to pull us back into it. And so as we get more proficient and we start to master these things and embody these things, then it's like this, it really does shift on a very quick level.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, and that makes sense. I've done the same thing. New level, new devil, and
yeah.
and the learning more as you go. But it just was funny to me that portion.
Oh, you're muted, Misa.
I had to mute him because he's so loud.
Problem. No problem at all.
He's a little bit closer than the donkey that you have.
Yeah, my donkey has wandered away, so it's
Uh-oh.
interesting. Yeah, well, all of them actually in the area for some reason. So
Huh.
yeah,
Weird.
they
But
served.
yeah, it was just so interesting that my logical mind went to the opposite of what I actually do.
Right.
And so I thought it was cool just to have a chat.
Yeah, and so what's important about this is that if you're in the moment and you're so whatever you're focused on is just so intensely negative, and money is a big factor, and health is a big factor, and love is a big factor. So those are your three biggest triggers in our lives. And
Yeah.
if we want it so badly and we're so desperate for it and we're in such lack of it, then we've got to focus on something else. Have to turn away from it because we cannot stay in reality, because when we stay in the now and looking at what is, that doesn't get us anywhere. That doesn't move the needle, doesn't get us closer to our goals. So if you focus on what your desire is, you focus on what feels good, you focus on dreams and inspiration and things that are going to help you feel good, whether that's a different area of your life or not, that is what's going to help you the most, because then you're in the more positive energy, you're in the higher vibration. So you're going to think differently, you're going to feel differently, you're going to move differently, you're going to actually be different. But if you're
Yeah.
constantly in the, I got to heal and I'm not good enough and something's wrong with me and it's not working out for me and all that kind of stuff, then that's when you got to do the mindset work, because, or just leave that stick alone and move forward and look at something else.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. We are intriguing to say the least.
Well, yes, we are.
And it's just it, like I said, throughout the entire masterclass, it's all about awareness. There's no, and it's going to be practiced. You have to practice these things. If you're not practicing, then you're not being conscious and you're just allowing things to happen to you, right? So, and I can get caught up in it too. I can get caught up in it's not working out for me and oh my gosh and the negative what ifs and go into that downward spiral. Or I can stop myself in the moment once I realize it and go, okay, what do I want to focus on instead? Let's do that. So I'll watch a comedy to get shift me out of the energy, or I'll call a friend to shift me out of the energy, or I'll go for a walk and shift me out of the negative energy. Because when we stay in that negative energy, that's when we're going to attract more negative to us.
Yeah. I'm gonna mute myself because I need to do something that's gonna be a couple minutes and make some noise. So I'm just gonna let you talk.
It's all good. So we just want to just make sure, well, not make sure. It's got to be a concerted effort. So I was chatting with one of the members, and she realized that she does things for a week and then that doesn't work, and then she'll go on to something else. So I really want you to think about this statement. You are however old you are. It is taking you this long to get you to where you are. And it's going to take you longer than a week to get you where you want to be. So again, it's pretty common. Most of us, including myself, can be very impatient because we're not seeing the results. And in our minds, we're trying and we're doing all the things. And I really, especially when it comes to your health, I really want you to ask yourself, are you doing it on a consistent basis? Have you done it for 3 months? Have you worked with somebody to help you heal for 3 months? Have you worked with, it's just like going to the gym. You cannot lose 20 pounds overnight. You cannot lose it in a week, generally speaking. You can lose an inch, you can lose 2 inches. So this is why I really want you to focus when you're doing this work, is to focus on the improvements, big or small. So if they're, and they could be very small, like very incremental. And this is also part of human nature, is that we have a tendency to not see the big improvements and or the small improvements. So when I work with my massage clients, I have to have a health history form. And so I list all the symptoms, all the issues that they struggle with, all the things that are coming up with for them. And then what I do is within 3 weeks or so, I start asking them questions about it. And we are human, and that human mind, God had created us so well. If it doesn't hurt, we forget. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we want to become more aware that these things have gone. So you might want to journal out where you are right now in this moment. Like, what are your symptoms? What are your aches? What are your pains? What are your struggles? What are your, all the things? And then come back within a month of doing this work and see where you're at. Because I can almost promise you and guarantee that if you do this work consistently for a month, that you will start to see changes. And if it's not big changes, it's small changes over time, which then becomes momentum, and it builds and it builds and it builds. So keep doing it. And then there will be a point where you've got so much momentum that things will start to shift again. And it'll be like, oh my gosh, wow, look at that. I'm not feeling pain at all today. Or I've only felt it when I've made certain movements. Or I haven't thought about it even today because it's not in my awareness anymore. So the other part of it is elevating and improving our vibration and our frequency and what we focus on and what we're doing. And this is why the positive things, the happy things, the things that light you up, the things that inspire you, that motivate you, that make you feel good, to focus more on that is going to be so super important because it's going to elevate you. And your momentum will quantum leap if you are doing all of the mindset work and the working with the universal laws and unraveling those beliefs so that you know what those beliefs are. You've got to bring them to the conscious mind in order for you to unravel them. Otherwise, they're still pulling you back into that energy. Self-care. How many of you honestly take care of yourself? So there was a couple ladies that were on the live, and one of the things that came up was they did not believe they deserved to be cared for. And there's many women and moms that believe this. Everybody else is first. I'm last, or even if I'm on the list, maybe I'm not even on the list of everything. And you cannot give love to other people from an empty cup. It's just not possible. An empty cup is empty. There's nothing in there. So you are a vessel. And if your vessel is empty, then you cannot give from an empty vessel. This is when you burn out. This is when you're overwhelmed. This is when you're in anxiety mode. This is when your body starts to break down. And then all of a sudden, because your body's starting to break down, now we pay attention. And if you've gotten to that point, again, no judgment or criticism, it's just awareness, then the job is to actually do self-care again. So I had 3 bouts of precancer cells. I don't know if I told this story or not. And I realized I was working at the Four Seasons Spa at the time. I was working 5 and 6 days a week. I was seeing 6 to 8 clients a day. I was physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted. Plus, I had 2 little girls to come home to, and my husband at the time would sometimes keep them up because they hadn't seen me all day. And sometimes I still had to do homework with them, which was the worst thing because my patience was like 0 at this point. And I wasn't eating properly as much. I wasn't taking care of myself hardly at all because, of course, he wants some time and attention as well. And then there's the house and the chores and the errands and all the stuff. So being pulled all over the place. And I remember before the hotel closed down for 2 years because of a hurricane, a passing hurricane. I think it was like 300 miles away, but it was a perfect storm. I think it was a full moon, so high tide. It came in the direction where the lowest levels were, the hotel was built at below sea level. And it came in fast and quick, and they did have no time for preparation to try to manage it all. So it flooded the hotel. Then there was some other stuff behind the scenes. So fast forward 2 years, the hotel is going to open. We're then asked to come back if we want to interview for our positions again. And I remember dropping the girls off at school. We didn't have a car then, so I walked them down the hill, and then I was walking back up, and I was crying. I did not want to go back. And that was the period of time that I had those 3 bouts of precancer cells. Because I was run down. I wasn't taking care of myself. Now, when I had them, it was a signal for me that something was out of alignment and out of balance. So when we have symptoms and we have illnesses and conditions and diseases, with all my heart and my soul and my knowing, I want you to hear this so loudly and clearly. It's just a signal telling you that you need to take care of yourself, that you need to love on yourself, that you need to trust your body again, and you need to pay attention. It's an opportunity always to do something, to change something. And you cannot improve your health being, thinking, and doing the same things you did, you thought, and you were from before. It all starts and ends with us, period. So I hope you hear that very clearly, because when I realized that, I really shifted in a big way. Because I wasn't affected by people outside of me. I wasn't affected by what people said, what people do. Now, the girls and my ex will always be able to affect me. That is God's honest truth. Not as much, but they can. Because they were a part of my world for a very long time. And my girls especially, they're still a piece of me. So give yourself the compassion and grace when you have moments where you cannot brush it off. You cannot be strong and be Teflon. And don't misunderstand me. This is also a factor. So I used to say, I don't care. And that wasn't the truth. I did care. And it was a protective measure. It was a protective boundary. It was a protective shield. Because I did care, and I cared deeply. And do not care at the detriment of yourself. That's the difference. Many people will pull at you. Many people will have expectations and demands and all the things. And you've got to set the boundaries. You've got to stand in your personal power. No is a full sentence. And sometimes use the word. You have to say yes to yourself more and no to others more. Because you cannot love and overflow from an empty cup. You cannot get healthy and strong and realigned, and have yourselves actually harmonizing with each other and the systems within your body if you are in disharmony in your life and with yourself. So perhaps even in a journal, sit down and ask yourself some hard questions. And it just, so I I did my level 4 Akashic records, and our instructor has changed things in her programs. So she's allowed the old crew to come back and redo the training because she's improved it and she's changed it. She had a partner before, and they've since separated. So she wanted her stamp on things. And I was doing an exchange with a colleague, and I'm feeling really good. Life is good. And I cried through the whole session, tears streaming down my face, snot running out of my nose, like, and where it came from, I have no idea. It's been brewing for a couple of weeks, and I knew it was there. It's just that I thought I had, human nature. You think you deal with these things, and sometimes we deal with it on a superficial level, and we haven't dealt with it on a physical level. So this is why the energy work is so important, because we're removing all of that. And I just allowed it to come. Like, I wasn't embarrassed. I didn't feel any shame. I didn't feel any guilt. It didn't make it mean anything. All it meant was it was something that was in my body that needed to come out. And it did. So allow yourself to feel the feelings, the emotions, whatever's coming up. If you're angry, go into your bedroom, shut the door, scream into a pillow, punch the pillow if you need to. If you're disappointed, cry if you feel that you need to. Don't swallow your emotions. Your emotions are what's going to keep you stuck as well, because unresolved emotions breaks your body down. Period. It is so important for us to deal with the emotions. It's part of our human experience. And as children, we're told to suck it up. And do you want me to give you a reason to cry? And so then they're going to spank you because you're crying, and because they didn't know how to deal with it. If your child is crying, hug them if they let you. Hold their hand, sit with them, let it pass, and then ask them if they're okay and they need to talk. But don't berate yourself. Don't berate them. Don't make it bad. It's not bad. We're meant to feel it. You cannot feel happy and not feel sad at some point. You cannot feel happy all the time and not feel angry sometimes. You cannot feel joy and not feel pissed off sometimes. The goal is to be 51% on the positive as much as you possibly can, in order for the negative not to be dominant in your life. And when those negative feelings or low-level feelings come up, allow them to pass to and through you. Storing them breaks down our body. Storing them will actually change the chemistry in our systems. And then the chemistry changes, so the signals change, so then the cells change, and then all of a sudden, so there's a cell, and you've got a receptor, and each cell will go into that receptor normally. And if you store emotion and it changes the chemistry, then the receptor or the cell can change shape. And then no longer will this cell be able to be received by the receptor. And that's where things start to really break down. And the good news is it can all be restored. Now we've got to do the work. So, are you committed to your health? Or are you just interested in being healthy? Okay. And when I was asked this question when it came to my business, I was like, damn. It's a harsh question. Are you committed or are you just interested? And if you're just interested, then there'll be a day where you're going to feel the need to be committed. And I hope you're committed now, especially if you're experiencing a condition, illness, or disease, or getting symptoms, and you're not listening to the symptoms. The symptoms, so humans are really interesting. So I was working with this young lady, and she kept getting caught up in the fact that she didn't know why she was feeling what she was feeling. So she wanted a diagnosis, quote unquote. And I'm telling you, I hope you hear this very loudly, that if you're not diagnosed, that is a very good thing. You are closer to your health than you realize. Once you get diagnosed, you can still get better. And often we get wrapped up in the symptoms too much. We're looking up on Dr. Google about what this means and what that means, and if it's a part of the actual illness, condition, or disease. And then maybe it's just getting older. Maybe you tweaked something when you did something. It doesn't have to be. So when I have been the precancer cells in the cervix, and then I had the breast tissue thing, I do not look up any diagnosis that I have, because I do not want to start to look for things that are going wrong. I focus totally on myself, on my body, and knowing and trusting that my body can heal itself. There's done it 4 times. It'll continue to do it moving forward. And it can for you too. So don't lose hope. Don't trust the doctors that tell you to not believe, or that you just have to live with it. Don't trust the doctors when they say, take these pills because it'll never get better. That's not necessarily the case. I've worked with clients who have had cancer. I've worked with a client who had congestive heart failure. I've worked with a client that couldn't walk, and then within a couple of months of working together, she could walk, and she hadn't walked without double crutches for 10 years. Our bodies are amazing machines, and God made us. And if you believe in God, source, the universe, your higher power, he, she, they do not create something that is not meant to be thriving on all levels. We just forgot. We put ourselves last. So that's the end of my rant. Misa, any other questions or insights that you'd like to add? If not, then we'll end it here. Okay, you might be gone. Okay.
I'm technically I'm technology whatever. Technically, I am challenged today with my technology.
Yeah, no worries.
It's like get up here, and I'd push the and it would go somewhere else. I'm like, whatever. No, I don't think I have anything to add at this point. Um, I agree with you on so many fronts there. It's and that the longer that you ignore whatever emotions that you've stuffed down into your body,
Mhm.
the more painful it gets to remind you, because the body knows that the only way to move you is to make it painful.
Right, right. And I'm guilty of it. Like I had this rash on my inner thigh for months and months and months, but I was putting this cream on it and then it would go away and then it would come back and then it would go away and it would come back and I kept doing this dance with it to a point where now the cream wasn't working anymore. So that is what motivated me to go to the doctors. Like I don't get it. Like this is just human nature, unfortunately. And please don't do that. Don't wait for
Right?
the blaring lights in the car, with a check engine light saying, pay attention, take me in for maintenance, go, 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 and maintain yourself, just like we do our cars. And you wouldn't do that to your child. If your child came to you and said, Mom, I've got shoulder pain, and the shoulder pain's been for a couple of weeks or maybe even a month or so, you would take them to the doctor. Why aren't you taking yourself to the doctor? Doctors aren't bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't know everything, but they're not bad. And sometimes we do need medication. We need the assistance, or we need to be referred to a physio, or we need to be referred to a massage therapist or a chiropractor or something else. But doctors know what they know, and they're there to assist us. They're a tool like everything else. So we
Yeah.
want to take the power back and advocate for ourselves.
Very true. Very true.
Yes.
I'm not very good at that.
Yeah, and so um I don't know if you watched day one, the VIP section, Misa, or not.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. I encourage you to do that because I asked some telepathic questions and there's some underlying reason why you don't do
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
that. So if you want to get to the
I
root,
know exactly what those are.
yeah, yeah, definitely. If you want to get into the root, then I suggest you watch those and allow yourself to go through all the VIP sections that are releasing and removing all those energies that no longer serve you. And they have served you to this point, and they got us to where we are. And most of us have been in survival mode for most of our lives. And now it's time to thrive. Now it's time to be healthy. Now it's time to get everything that we honestly deserve. And we deserve it all, period. I believe that with,
Amen to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been an honor and a privilege. Thank you for showing up, Misa. Thank you for joining us in the masterclass and for those that signed up for the VIP. If you'd still like the VIP, you'll get the recordings and it'll be lifetime access to both the free masterclass as well as the healings through the week for the VIP section. If you'd like that, DM me and I will get you the link. It's $47 and there's just be a recording and you can listen to it as much as you can. And I honestly encourage you to do it often.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Have a blessed day and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
You too. Bye bye.